Hello everyone, new day, new video. For those of you who are new here, my name is Peace. And for the past few months, I've been documenting my journey and growth as a loan signing agent here in New York. I wholeheartedly believe that nothing and no one can truly prepare you for life as a loan signing agent and the things you will go through. It's 100% one of those things that you have to be in to really grasp and understand what's happening. But in today's video, I'm going to try my best to give you tips and explain the things that no one really talks about. I know videos like this already exist and they talk about different things that other people may not know about, like getting paid 30 days out, or the wear and tear on your car, or oversaturation. So I kind of want to touch on different points that I haven't heard anyone speak about, so it's not redundant. But before we even get into all that, let's talk about overcoming fear and doubt. A lot of you have been reaching out to me in regards to being nervous about starting off on this new journey, and that's completely fine. That's completely normal, because just like starting anything new, it's always going to be scary when you first try something out. But with that being said, it gets easier when you do the same thing over and over again. But you'll never get to that point if you don't start. With a job like this, you have to be self-motivated. You can't let money alone be the driving factor, because you will burn out easily. My driving factor is that the pandemic really opened my eyes to how messed up the corporate world is, and I know that's something I cannot go back to. I don't have a choice but to succeed, because I don't want to go back there. And although you never want to say never, I can't. I just can't. I guess what I'm trying to say is you have to find your why. Why are you doing this? Is it for your kids? Is it to get out of a bad situation? Find your why. When you have a really strong why, you will go to the moon and back to accomplish your goals. And once you've set your goals, put on your blinders and go for it. Don't compare yourself or your process to other people, because you only have you, and you can only do the best that you can do. And that's really all you need. So I guess in a way, that's my first tip for new loan signing agents. Find your why before hopping in, because you will burn out if you don't have one. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty stuff regarding loan signings. Let's talk about signers. So tip 2 is that when you call the signer to confirm the appointment, let them know how long the appointment is going to take. I personally did not do this at first until I started getting signers who would schedule their appointment 15 minutes before they had to leave to work in the morning, and then they would try to rush me. Like, what are we doing here? This is a 170-page refinance and there's 2 of you guys signing. We are not getting through this in 15 minutes. This has happened to me a few times, and every single time, without fail, I would miss the signature. And then I'd have to drive to their job or wherever they went to get the paper signed. So now I just tell them that it's going to take an hour to complete, even though it probably won't take me that long. I just tell them that so I have enough time and I won't feel rushed, and so that they can reschedule if they need to. My third tip regarding the signers is to call the day of to confirm that they still want you to come. I know, such a simple tip that I wasn't even following, because I guess for some reason I didn't want to bother the signers too much, until I ended up in situations where I would print the documents and start driving on my way to the closings, only to get a call from the signing service halfway through my drive saying that the appointment was canceled. If I had just simply picked up the phone to call the borrower to ask them if they still want me to come, I would have saved myself so much time, paper, toner, gas, money spent on tolls. Unsuccessful signings can happen for a lot of different reasons. Either the signer can no longer make it to the appointment, or the number on the documents are wrong. I guess the good thing is that you still get paid for unsuccessful signings. On average, I get paid $40 for an unsuccessful signing, so can't complain too much about it. My fourth and last tip regarding the signer is to confirm with them whether or not they're comfortable with the meeting location. Let them know that they have a choice in where they want to perform the closing ceremony at. It doesn't have to be at their home. It can be at a library or a coffee shop. We are still living through a pandemic, and a lot of people have children and elderly parents living with them, and they might not be comfortable exposing them to a stranger. So the signing doesn't have to be at their home if they're not comfortable with it. I've had to do signings inside cramped cars, on the hood of a car, against the wall, just very awkward spaces, not only for me but for the signer as well, when it didn't have to be that way. So when you speak to the signer and they start mentioning things like vaccination, or they mention children and parents, you can tell that there's an obvious concern. So just let them know that you can meet them at a location that's convenient for them. Let's talk about two-part signings. First of all, they are just always a mess for no reason. I don't understand. For those of you that don't know, a two-part signing is when there are two signers on the package, however they are in two different locations. So what will happen is that two notaries will be assigned to that one package. The first notary will have the responsibility of showing up to the closing table with the first signer, having them sign their name and notarize accordingly. After that, that first notary is going to ship the package either to the second notary or to the second signer. Once that happens, the second notary will show up and repeat the whole process, and then take the package and ship it to title or wherever it needs to end up. Very simple and straightforward, right? Wrong. As the second notary, I don't think you need to take on that much responsibility, because all you're doing is showing up and doing what you normally do anyway. I think as the first notary, you need to take on a little bit more responsibility of the whole process. I recently had a signing where I didn't know it was a two-part signing until the signers had to let me know on their own. And no, it wasn't in the instructions, and I'm not sure why the signing service decided not to tell me this information, but they should have, and let me tell you why. It's Thursday, I show up on time, 6:30 p.m. Keep that in mind. I get there, I'm doing my job, and it comes up in conversation that the second signing is happening on Saturday. And I start to worry a little bit, because when did title or the signing service expect this package to be delivered? My local FedEx cutoff time is at 6 p.m. which means this package is not going to get shipped until Friday morning, which means it's not going to get to its destination until Monday. And the reason why is because you need like a special label for Saturday deliveries. At least that's what the FedEx guy told me. Long story short, I make my drop off, and all weekend the signers are blowing up my phone, calling me, asking me when the package will arrive. I'm calling the signing service to let them know what's going on. I'm calling title, and no one is getting back to us because it's a weekend. Package gets delivered on Monday, and I can only imagine how that went. If it called for a re-sign, I don't know, because no one ever got back to me. But I still get requests from that signing service, so maybe I'm off the hook. Who knows? The tip here is to always think ahead. It's not enough for you to just do your job and go on your merry way. If I had known that this was a two-part signing, I would have taken it upon myself to make sure that the appointment time was moved to an earlier time so I can make my drop off on time. You have to pay attention to these little things. This next tip is a little counterintuitive, but lately I've been printing out my documents as last minute as possible. Sometimes there will be last minute changes to a document, so what they'll do is that they will send you an extra document that you need to print out and swap with the old one. And of course they're not going to pay you extra to shred the documents that you already printed out. So to avoid this, I just print out my documents 30 minutes before I have to head out. And because I stay on top of my printer maintenance, I never really run into any issues printing last minute, so it works out for the most part. This last tip is actually a tip that I got from Andrea from Notary, and it's actually a really good one. And what you do is that you administer your oath or affirmation at the beginning of the closing process. Some packages have more than one affidavit, and instead of administering the oath and asking, do you solemnly swear for each and every single document, you administer the oath or affirmation at the beginning of the signing and let the signer know that it will be in effect for the entire duration of the signing. That prevents you from being in a situation where in the moment of explaining the documents and having the signer sign their name, you forget. With this method, you are covered because you already did it at the beginning and it's in full effect for the entire duration. I actually have a few more tips, but I don't want to make this video too long, so I will come back with the part 2. I know these weren't like major life-changing tips, but there are already so many videos like this and I didn't want to come at you guys with the same information. But these are just little tips that have helped me become a better and efficient loan signing agent, and I hope they helped you as well. If you've made it to this point of the video, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Doing so exposes my content to people who have the exact same questions as you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!